Potjiekos, dat is allemaal moos. Hoendertje of rooivlees, zelfs een snoek is koos.
Hello, how's it? My name is Ben Kruger. Welcome to my kitchen, and this is Potjiekos. Today I'm going to teach you a real South African comfort food recipe. It's known as Melkos. Translated into English, that means milk food. Food based on milk. Okay, so what do? We start with 4 cups of room temperature milk. Goes into the mixing bowl. Then we add a cup of fresh cream. That goes in. Then we take a cup of sugar. That goes in. And finally, 1 whole egg. There we go. And now we whisk all this together. Don't skimp on your time during this process. You want the sugar to dissolve. You want the egg to be mixed in with the milk and the cream. And it's got to do a proper job. Once it's properly mixed, it goes into the potjie, and no oil and no onions, please. Make sure all your sugar goes in. Give it another good stir, and then we add a cinnamon stick. That goes in. And now this pot can go on the fire on a low heat. I'm going to use the gas because it's just easier to do it in here than outside on the fire. Turn it down to the lowest heat it will go, and the pot goes on. Now of course you have to be careful, this is milk, and you don't want your milk boiling over and ruining either your fire or your stove. Next we take some commercial short crust pastry and roll about half of it, cut it off. Do that to one side and cover the rest of it in plastic and go back in the fridge. Now, this has got to be rolled out quite thinly. So, we take some flour, spread that over, and the flour is quite important because this is going to go into the Melkos, and the flour that you put with the pastry is going to cause it to thicken and become very nice. Okay, we put our pastry down. Pour some more flour over that. And then we get the rolling pin and we start the rolling. Make sure you get it nice and even. And once you're done, we're going to roll it up again and cut it into slices. You can of course make your own pastry, and it's always a good idea just to add a bit of sugar to make it sweet. Just before I roll it up and cut it, I'm going to put some sugar on this pastry. The other way of doing it, interestingly enough, is to make what we call in Afrikaans frummels or crumbs. You basically take some flour, you put butter in there, and then with your fingers you rub it together until it makes crumbs. You put a bit of sugar in there, rub it, and when you've got a whole bunch of crumbs, you chuck that into your potjiekos, and that's what gives the thickness and also gives your Melkos some substance. But we're just going to use the store-bought stuff because we are city slickers, and yeah, it's easier this way. Right, my pastry is rolled out, so now I'm going to put some sugar on there.
potjiekos, dit eet almal mos. Hoendertjie of rooi vlees, selfs 'n snoek is kos. Potjiekos is boerekos, dit weet almal ook. As jy nie kan potjie bou, kan jy glad nie kook. Potjiekos is boerekos, dit weet almal ook. As jy nie kan potjie bou, kan jy glad nie kook.
Now the thinner you slice these, the better. Just be careful of your fingers. And then, once you've sliced enough of them, put them in a bowl, like this. Keep them rolled up if possible. Sometimes they will unroll because of the flour and the sugar. Doesn't make much of a difference. And there you go. There are your sneisels or your cuttings. This is going to go into the pot. Let's go and see what's happening with our Melkos. What you're waiting for is for your milk just to start boiling, but you don't want it to go to a full boil, otherwise it will boil over. So as you see it start simmering, you stir, you'll feel there's a slight layer at the bottom. That's normal, feels a bit slimy, don't worry about it. And then once you've got a good stir going, you pop in your cuttings slowly. You don't want to bring the temperature of the milk down too quickly. Put in your cuttings, and now you stand here and you stir. And this stirring process is quite important because it helps the flour to move into the milk and get thicker. It also moves your cuttings around so they don't stick to the bottom and burn. And it spreads the flavour of the cinnamon stick through the whole process. This might take a little while, so why don't you go and pour yourself a glass of wine, a cup of coffee, even a pot of tea. And when you come back, I'll show you what Melkos really looks like. You will notice that as soon as you stop stirring, the milk starts boiling. Let it come to almost boil 3 or 4 times. And by then, it should be thickening up nicely. Your cuttings should be done. And that cinnamon stick will have imparted quite a lot of flavor. So when you get to that point, take it off and go to the table. Come to Papa. Okay, our Melkos has been cooling down and it's ready to eat. First thing to do, take out the cinnamon stick. You don't want to bite into that while you're eating your Melkos. Then take your serving bowl and take a spoon like this and get some of that lovely cuttings from the bottom. Put them in there. Just one more, maybe 2 more. And then, oh, it smells lovely, brings back my childhood. Those cold winter mornings before we had to go and play barefoot rugby on fields that were barely covered with grass. When my mother woke me up on a Saturday morning and said, come, time to go and play rugby. I was the youngest guy in the school, so we had to play first when they were still ripe on the grass. It was terrible. My mom would wake me up and I kind of hated her. And then she'd say, come, have some Melkos. And then I knew she loved me. Okay. Got some nutmeg. Got some cinnamon. Sprinkle over. Sprinkle over. We live in the southern hemisphere, so we have warm, sunny Christmases, whereas our European and North American counterparts, they have white Christmases, and they make things like eggnog and whatever. This, my friends, let me tell you, is brilliant. Summer or winter, whenever you feel down, whenever you feel depressed, Melkos is your baby. You can put this in a thermos flask, take it with you to work, take it with you on the road. Stuff's brilliant. If you want to go fishing for the whole night, take your Melkos with you. Well, I'm going to stop talking now and just finish this bowl. Yeah. Man, this is good. See you next time.
Potjiekos, dat is allemaal moos. Hoendertje of rooivlees, zelfs een snoek is